Good evening, happy Friday, and welcome back to the show. If you are a regular in this joint, you are in for a real treat this week because my guest is the very lovely, very talented hostess of Tea and Telly with Maria, Mistress Vampira. The sorcerer in the battle of good versus evil, Zen priest, writer, voice actress, gamer, and cat lady. In other words, Boomer, she's a lady, so we stand when she enters the room and watch the swears. Translation for the uninitiated, my designated driver needs to be on his toes this evening to keep yours truly in line. Anyway, you're all in for a real treat tonight, I promise. So strap in. Here we go. So you heard it. We have a guest tonight, Boomer.
I know. And
she's gonna class up this joint, let me tell you.
So I can't mention the name Seth Rogen to you tonight, otherwise the F-bomb's going to fly.
You know what? I don't know where the topics are going to go tonight. Netter had already asked what we were going to talk about. I said, you know what? We're going to let our guest kind of lead us a little bit. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Before I jump into it, what are you sipping on, Boomer?
I just got a Coca-Cola. Have some caffeine. Hopefully keep me awake tonight.
That's fine. You're the designated driver. You need to be. I'm just having a glass of wine myself. I was going to have something a little bit browner, a little bit darker, and then I saw Arwen on the Twitters, and she was drinking some wine, and I was like, actually that looks pretty good. So I decided to go with some wine myself.
What kind of?
Let us not keep her waiting too long. Let's go ahead and get our guest of honor in here and introduce her. Add to stream. Hello, Mistress. How are you?
Well, good evening to you, and thank you so much for having me. And that was quite the intro. You made me sound like I wanted to watch my own channel.
Just to give everybody a peek behind the curtain, in all honesty, I was just reading your bio from Twitter, so
okay.
So you kind of wrote it yourself, but I feel that's perfectly fair, you know. So I think the first thing that we need to get out of the way: how do you want to be addressed tonight, Maria, Mistress Vampira? And am I pronouncing it correctly, or is it Vampira?
Vampira.
Vampira. That is how it's spelled. So
Piera.
Right. Mm-hmm. Piera, exactly.
Yes. And you know what? You can call me Maria. I didn't come as a mistress tonight because I said I didn't even ask. But I just came as Maria from Tea and Telly.
Maria is absolutely perfect.
But we can always talk about the mistress too. But yes, and just so you know, I'm having some Irish whiskey.
See, that's how I was gonna go too, but then I saw Erwin was drinking some wine. I'm like, that actually looks pretty good, you know.
Did you see? I told her she needs to buy stock because.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. That's what's the second week in a row. I think she showed that bottle. So
yeah, she likes that. I'm gonna have to send her a good bottle.
So let's real quick say hi to the chat.
Yeah.
I see some new faces there. Let me scroll back up. I had already said hi to Big Al of Big Al Presents. I don't know if you're still here, Al, but thanks so much for stopping by. He says to have a great show. Of course, go Team Ghost Planet Go. Now, she's a regular here, Melissa Harris. I love seeing her all the time. If I got no one else in the audience, I know she's going to be there. and talk about encouraging here. She says, we are both glad to be your friends, and we are proud to be in your YouTube community. How sweet is that?
That is just, I love people like that who enjoy what you do.
I mean, that kind of makes it all worthwhile. And that brings me to the first new face that I see in the stream, and that's Dino of the Late Horror Show.
Hello, Dino.
Thank you so much, buddy, for being here. He is going to be my special guest in 2 weeks.
He is. Everybody's taking him. He is an awesome guest.
I never would have thought to ask him to be on, because he's, from my point of view, he's big time, But he was on your channel a couple days ago, and he said something to the effect of like, I'll go on anyone's channel, however big, however small, and I'm like, I'm up to that challenge.
Yeah. He is an awesome guest. I just adore him to bits. And my lovely chief PR manager, Tracy, is in the
I was just
audience.
getting to your lovely sidekick there. She's encouraging the heck out of me this week.
Yes.
With the forwards and the shares and the likes and the I mean, you guys are going to get me to start liking Twitter almost. Almost.
Almost, I know.
In fact, since Tracy's here, that brings up something I wanted to mention. Age of Boomer, you got to kind of pay attention to the community. This is what I've been telling you all along. Mm-hmm. And especially the people that are in the community around Maria, because we're talking some very lovely ladies here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's Maria, there's Tracy with those blue eyes.
Yes.
Arwen Avalon with beautiful singing voice. Purple Valkyrie with that incredible accent.
Yes.
And there's one girl that follows you. I say girl because she seems like she's pretty young, but she does this non-casual Friday. I don't know what her name is.
Oh, yes. That's Amber.
Amber is her name?
She's part of the team of Orville whenever we finally get to stream. Again, for that, she is on the panel for that. She doesn't have her own channel right now, but we've been encouraging it.
She is absolutely lovely, but
she is.
She looks a lot like my wife Nanette, so I got it typed, so she kind of stands out.
A little bias.
Oh yeah. So you've got an incredible community around you. So yeah, you might want to pay closer attention there, Boomer.
I'm paying close attention.
But let me see. I didn't want to miss any. And then, of course, Sir Torin Clegane. Good evening, everyone. Sir Torin's going to be my guest next week when we'll be talking a little bit more about DC Comics, the characters, and imagining a better world where they didn't mess up their movie cinematic universe. Let's see. Artificer Joni, it's been a little while. Good to see you. Oh, good morning. Yeah, for you it would be morning. So I'm so glad you were able to stop by this morning and start your day with us. Or start your weekend with us, I suppose, from your point of view. The lovely Sherry.
Miss Sherry. Well, she is.
That's a new name. I super appreciate you coming here. Just seeing a new name and a new face in the chat is incredibly encouraging.
She's a gem. Love her to bits. And I'm wondering if she changed that name because I'm always calling her that.
Oh, well, that could very well be.
I'm just kidding.
Keely Chow.
Keely.
Yep. She's. I've seen that name around, mostly on Age of Boomer's channel, I think.
Yeah, she's a great supporter. Adore her.
Let's see. I don't want to have missed anybody here.
Well, you're doing that.
I'm up to date.
I was going to say, a pleasure to meet you, Aged Boomer. I don't think we've worked together before.
No, we haven't. I recently subscribed to your channel, though.
Oh.
I like what I'm seeing so far. And,
Thank you.
yeah, Troy was talking to me about you last week, actually. Yeah, he
Oh.
made a point about how. Cool.
Very nice.
Burning up his ears a little bit. And I'm sorry, I should not do that. I was just talking about Nanette, and I didn't say hi to her. She's in the chat doing all the wrenching and all the greeting and all the link dropping, and of course I appreciate her for that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we've only been married 29 years, so yeah.
I mean, yeah.
29. Wow, congrats.
Yeah.
Congrats.
I'm a lucky man. I really
So
am,
I know you guys are great.
But
So great.
I guess the best way to start, elevator pitch. Tell us a little bit about your show.
Well, you kind of said most of it there. I guess I did write it, huh? No. I like to do all trades. My show tends to be supportive a lot of people if you do see it. You see things like supporting authors and artists and musicians and people that are creative. And I like to give people information as well. Like if I find something really good, even if it's something cheesy, like cat fountains. I'm gonna actually do a review on that because for us cat people, it's important. And so if you don't find like if somebody comes to my channel, they're like cat fountain, what am I gonna do with that? Whatever. I have something else. I am a gamer, so I do love to game, build computers. Like you said, I just kind of try to do a little bit of everything, but within the same kind of field to where I am supporting others, which is why I love bringing people to my channel to introduce others, like I did with Dino. He is a pretty good sized channel,
Yeah, he
but
does.
he wasn't very known in our family
Yeah.
community, and I wanted to introduce and mesh the two, and I think it's worked out well.
I know. Actually, Nanette's really taken to the channel.
Hmm.
We'll be listening in the evening, and then obviously I'll have to stop it because we don't want to miss nothing. And next day she'll be like, "Hey, put on that show, the one where they go into the Congo and the guy gets kidnapped and the oh yeah, okay, I'll pick
Whoa.
that back up."
Yeah, yeah, it's good stuff. I
I think
watch
it'd be
it
right up your
often.
alley, Age. I just told
Cool.
Agent Boomer
I think
about it
so.
today, so
Yeah, you will
listening to
love
it.
it. And his community is also just as welcoming and awesome. They came over on the stream when I had them there, and they were just a blast. So that's the point, is to help us all grow together.
I must have missed a chat, but Netter just said hi to Matthew Flynn, the Gladiator of Kaon, whose channel I will be on Sunday morning talking about a Ben 10 Omniverse.
Very
So how
nice.
you doing, Matthew? Good to see you. Boy, it's late for you. You're over the other side of the pond there, so it's a couple hours ahead of us there. If you could look up the lottery numbers for us and send them back to us, I'll split that with you. For
I've
you
tried
tonight.
that, but I guess it doesn't work that well.
I guess
I've
not. I
tried it.
guess not. But anyway, so one thing in putting together the monologue for today and going over your deets here, one of the things that stood out to me, voice actress. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Hmm. Yeah, it kind of started, oh gosh, a while back. I worked with a voice acting coach.
Mm-hmm.
He wanted to actually get me started on Spanish radio voice acting, but
Sure.
um, I worked with them for a while, and then I went into radio. So I did radio. I've been trying to find those old archives because they were a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So that's a whole different type thing when you're just talking and there's nobody, you don't see them, you're just talking to them. But then that led to a few other things to where I got hired on to do some voice acting spots. And I started doing one for, well, you might have seen my show where I've had my producer friend on, the one who does the Australia's Most Haunted.
Mm-hmm.
He does radio. He is a radio personality out in Australia, and he wanted me to do some voice acting for him to pitch his show, and I did. And apparently, some of the other radio hosts heard it, and they wanted me to do one for them.
Sure.
And apparently, it got up to the top guy.
Ooh.
So they liked it because I have an American accent,
Mm-hmm.
and they first thought I was Mariah Carey. I said, "Oh boy,
Don't ask me to sing,
whatever."
right?
And but I do whatever. Like if anybody needs voice stuff, I usually do that for them. And in my channel, I do some stuff for authors for promoting their books. So I have little videos of that and stuff. So
Nice, nice. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And the reason that I was asking is because, and I've never mentioned this, but for as long as I've been listening to you, I'm like, man, she's got an incredible voice. You've
Thank
got
you.
that really smooth, you know, all I don't take this the wrong way, but
Yeah.
sultry voice.
Oh,
you know?
thank you. No, it's if I see a shoe flying across the room, that'd be your wife. But I, she'd be like, "Stop it!" No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
no, no, no.
No, she's so
She's
sweet.
as big a
She's
fan of yours as
awesome.
I am.
Thank you. I
Bigger.
just love
Maybe bigger.
her. I love her. She's so
No,
sweet.
it's true. And I was just I can't remember what it wasn't your own show. I think maybe you were a guest on Orville Nation or something like that, and you were talking, and I was just thinking, man, this girl could do ASMR. I mean, there's no doubt about it. You know, I mean, and you wouldn't have to try. You just read the phone book or whatever.
I do. That's what some of my videos are. They kind of tend to. I don't know if you've ever seen like the one of my videos that I did. I wanted to do the reviews a little bit differently, not just come on and show a book and say, "Here, this is a great book." I did
Yeah.
mine differently. I put gloves on and I do an ASMR voice with the video. And I don't know if you've ever
Nice.
seen that, but
I haven't, but I'm gonna be looking for it now.
yeah, it's kind of fun. And when PJ first discovered me, so to say, he's like, that's different. It's good. And
Yeah,
so I like it. I think that it is nice because it's calming for some
yeah,
people, which is what I like from because like whenever I'm working and you get somebody who's irate or whatever the case is,
yeah.
they hear my voice instantly, they calm down and they always say, I can't be mad talking to you. I'm just like,
Exactly, exactly. Um, I, I, I mean, I think when people say that these days, when they talk about ASMR, it has a weird connotation these days.
it does.
But this whole idea of it has been around a long time before we
Yes.
had a name for it.
Mhm.
I mean, you think back to, now Bob Ross is becoming real big,
Yes.
in on the YouTubes and stuff. And I used to watch it all the time, and I just, just kind of zone. It was just
I
kind
know.
of chill, And they even kind of did a parody of PBS used to have a lot of shows that had this what they now call unintentional ASMR, where you'd have a chat show and
Yeah.
people would be talking like this,
Mhm.
and it would just be a conversation in even, smooth tones. Because
Right.
that's what public television was,
Mhm.
and. Alec Baldwin's been in the news a lot, and he's got his famous, Shreddy Balls Christmas sketch, which was, the pre-ASMR
Yes.
ASMR.
Yeah, I remember
But,
that.
but
Yeah, there's a few of them like, oh, well, I could listen to like all the time. Morgan Freeman is one that
Mm.
I could just sit there and just listen to him forever. And
I
yeah,
mean,
there's a
I
few.
I love his casting as God in
Yes,
what movie
Jim
was that?
Carrey.
The Jim Carrey movie. Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
I mean, because I'm like, yeah, I could see him as God.
yes,
Absolutely. That would be
absolutely.
if God could take any form, I could totally see him as Morgan Freeman.
Right.
know?
I could see that too. I'm like, I'm gonna go to heaven now just so I could see Morgan Freeman.
Right now, I know Aged Boomer is, and I'm certainly not going to put you on the spot, Maria, but I'm wondering if you've ever, if you remember, unfortunately, this is going to date you if you answer this question. So don't answer the question if you don't feel comfortable. But do you remember Morgan Freeman from the Electric Company?
I do.
Okay.
I will
Okay.
admit that.
Cheers.
Cheers on that. And I loved him then as a kid.
He was
listening to
great,
his
and
voice.
he has a singing voice. He did some songs with Rita Moreno.
Yes.
Rita
Ooh.
Moreno, who I've always had a crush on ever
Yes.
since the Electric Company. But
Yeah.
he was, what was that sketch he did where he was the DJ or whatever? He was
Oh yeah. I remember that.
Smooth something, or I can't
Mm-hmm.
remember now. Oh man, I'm so old.
Hush,
Fuzzy
Summer.
memories, I love it.
I know. Yeah, Bruce Almighty. Somebody mentioned that. That was
Bruce Almighty. And then they did a follow. You know what? I kind of liked it. Evan Almighty.
Mhm.
With
Yes.
Steve Carell. That was still
Right.
pretty good.
That was still good. That was still good.
But
And
yeah,
have you?
Yeah.
I'm constantly promoting, or not promoting, but talking about the BBC Radio 4 they do a lot of stuff like that too that's somewhat ASMR, but you could sit there and listen to them
Sure.
as well. And but to me, ASMR also is, and I know that it's going to sound like I'm plugging him again, but Dino show, when he
Yes.
does the radio ones, those are very soothing. And I mean, they're just,
They really are. And Boomer, do you mind if I share the conversation we had backstage?
Sure.
Okay. So I was talking with Agent Boomer before you came into the green room, Maria, and I was telling him, okay, so next week we got Sir Torrin Clegane. The following week, special guest, hopefully he'll be in the chat today, Dino from the Late Late Horror Show. He's like, oh, what's the Late Late Horror Show? Told him about it. He goes, man, he says, I love that kind of stuff. He says, don't tell him this, but sometimes I listen to that kind of stuff to fall asleep. And I'm like, dude, no, you don't understand. He has specifically said that he knows that a big portion of his audience, that's exactly why they listen.
Yeah.
That's why he starts a show to play for 12 hours at night for people to sleep to.
Yeah, it's true. And that's what I need as well. I don't know if I should admit to why I have to sleep with the TV on. Okay, I guess I will. What the heck?
I mean, it's just, the 14, 15 of us.
Okay, good. So when I kind of mentioned this before, kind of sort of in my show, but not really. When I was younger, I used to hear things a lot, like stuff that shouldn't be there.
Yes.
And I had mentioned on my last stream about how I was lying in bed and there was, I heard shuffling and breathing and somebody trying to get into the bed with me, and there was nobody there. But anyway, what I used to also hear a lot was I'd be lying there and I'm like sleeping, and all of a sudden I would hear Maria really loud in my ear.
Ooh.
And I'm like waking up, I'm like, holy shit, what was that? And it happened so often, and I would constantly hear my name. And so I got to the point where I would start sleeping with the TV on so that I couldn't tell if it was a TV or if it was that, so that I could actually sleep through the night. And that's what I do, because as soon as the TV goes off, like even now, I sleep with the TV on. I put a timer on it. When the timer goes out, if I will wake up and I'm like, oh God, and I have to turn the TV back on so that I could stay asleep.
Sure.
Just so that I can hear, it's just low enough to where I could hear some voices, but in my head, it's the TV. Sure. I don't want to know if there's any.
Do you feel like you're pretty sensitive to those kinds of, shall we say, piercing the veil kind of, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's the only thing that helps me sleep. So I need those shows.
Netter is very sensitive to that sort of stuff too. I, on the other hand, don't care about that stuff so much as I care about if noises I hear are of a more substantial nature.
Right.
That's why I sleep very well with a Ruger Wrangler, by the way.
That's a good idea.
And then I just, you know what? Doesn't matter what that sound is. If it turns out to be anything, I'll silence it.
Honestly. Yeah.
No, he makes me get up and look.
Right.
No.
I heard something. Go check it.
No, she only gets out of bed and goes to check when she feels like she needs to know what it is.
Right.
I listen, I'm like, I'm going back to bed. That's nothing,
Yeah.
Because I have no fear.
No, yeah, you probably don't. You should probably have a little bit more
She probably have a
caution.
But
she has her own Ruger Wrangler, so I'm not too concerned.
I kind of was brave. I don't know if you saw my tweet that I put out about me chasing off like all these guys. And I didn't. That actually did happen.
I have no doubt. I'm sure you probably have to defend yourself with a stick.
But I don't even know how or what my brain said. Hey, Maria, go out there with no weapon, no nothing, just go out there and chase off about 10 guys, twice as big as you. And I just went out there and I was like, what
sometimes all it takes
here?
is attitude. It really does.
Their eyes got this big and they took off running. I'm like, I can't believe I just did that.
Well, and I'll tell you something else. There's a certain psychology that goes into that too. Netter has kind of identified it in me. I tend to be very boisterous, very loud, and I've had situations in life where people are like, "Wow, he seems really angry," and Netter says, "Oh no, he's just loud. If he gets quiet, then you need to be concerned."
Right.
And it's true. It's very true. I get quiet when I get angry, and that's not a good.
You know
I
what?
kind of.
Yeah.
I'm right. I'm right on the verge of. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Yeah. You know what? I am actually the same. I always get the, aren't you mad? Oh, yeah, I'm actually pretty mad, but you can't tell because I'm plotting,
Yep.
I'm thinking, I'm planning, so I get very quiet.
Be quiet. Pay attention,
Pay
and have a
attention.
plan to take out everyone in the room.
Exactly. That's what I do.
Absolutely, absolutely. So
Just
I
like
guess.
Jack Dalton.
Well, yeah. Very, very, very true. Very true. And you are always nice until it's time to not be nice.
Exactly. I think that came from my training in Taekwondo. So,
Oh,
Oh, Taekwondo. I was
yeah.
American Self Protection, which was a mixed martial art. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where we get it from.
And wow, I heard that Paulie from the Latino Slant. I hear he's a trainer and he has his own dojo or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of interested, but obviously
Polly's.
he's way on the left coast, so it doesn't help me any.
Yeah. He's
But
awesome. Love
I think
Polly.
that brings us to the obvious topic, which we kind of hinted at the beginning of the show. So you want to tell us about, and again, help me out with my pronunciation, Mistress Van Piera?
Van Piera. Yes.
Van. So
Van Piera.
why the Spanish accent on the second syllable, but not on the first? It's not Van, it's Van. Van
Van.
Piera.
Well, I think it just depends on who pronounces it. The little background about that was
Yeah.
um, if some of the people who got some of my merchandise
Mm-hmm.
got the original spelling, which where it was pronounced Vampira,
Mm-hmm.
but because she was only supposed to come around for Halloween, and it was just going to be a Halloween thing.
Sure,
But
sure.
it had such good feedback, and people were like liking it. Can you keep her around a little longer? And then I got the interest to where she is the- a comic book from the David Beatty. Got to mention his name
Yep.
from DC Marvel. And so they wanted to change her image a little bit away from the vampire.
Yep.
So it is Vampira, which is more of a sorceress type thing. And
Mm-hmm.
the Van actually came from like Van Helsing, Van
Sure.
this and that. So I wanted something that was kind of in that line of those fighters of evil and all of
Sure.
that. And Piera is kind of also means like fire and things like that. So that's why now she's a sorceress, and the name spelling changed a bit. So now Mistress Vampira is around for not just Halloween. The idea of the comic book is going to be something unusual in that you're going to see Mistress Vampira with the shows to go along with the comic book, and that
Mm-hmm.
is exciting. I wish I could tell you the storyline, but I can't.
No. That's not the way that should work. You should get people excited about it and go to her channel
Yes.
and follow her and subscribe. And the link is in the description below. So please make sure you do that. For those that have just joined us, like for example, Wolf 10 Media.
Hello.
Thank you for joining us tonight. We are here with Maria, the Mistress Vampira. Please subscribe to her channel. She's got some
Thank
great
you.
content. She has a beautiful voice. I mean, if for no other reason, just just listen to her talk. That's worth the price of admission right there. But like those videos. But yeah, so it's interesting you say that because you make the correlation of Van Helsing. I believe, and someone in the chat, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that comes from the Swedish. So in other words, from Hilsig, which is in Sweden. I forgive my accent. I'm not Andre from Midnight Sex. I can't manage that kind of thing. But I believe that. So it would be like De Leon or Dipunel de la France. It's where they're from. It would be from Pyra, which would be assuming a place somewhere in Europe. But,
yes.
Well,
it's going to be exciting to start revealing a little bit more and more about her background. And I keep saying her because, she is a character, but I just happen to play myself as that.
I get that.
It's going to be interesting to see her story more and more, and you'll realize why there's kind of like a lot of background to her from lots of cultures. So I'm very excited about that.
I have obviously a great deal of affinity and gratitude to the Mistress Von Pieta because she specifically got me over the 300 point in my subscriptions, and so I'm thankful for that. But that brings us to another point. Maria, do you want to explain? You had mentioned on Twitter about a little competition we're having. You want to share that with the listeners?
Oh yeah, well, the last time we were on the streaming together, of course, PJ Vorval Nation, subscribe to him as well. He's good if you haven't. Put a little wager on Troy and myself, because we were neck and neck on subscribers.
We were literally down to the number. We had exactly the same subscriptions.
Exactly the same. Yeah. And even the next day, we went up the exact same amount. I was like, are you kidding? We're that neck and neck. So there was a little wager on to see who could get to our 400 subscribers first. And he was going to reward the winner with some of his merch. So whoever gets to that first. I thought it would be fun, not so much for the merchandise, but for the encouragement, the way we help each other, the way we get the word out about our channels, because you guys already are fabulous. So I'm excited to see you guys grow so fast.
I just think it's so funny because, and I said this in a tweet, whatever you do on Twitter, said something about how we're in a competition, but we're really trying to promote each other. Like we're trying to help the other one beat us.
And currently, Troy is 312 subscribers, and Maria is 377.
I was just going to say, spoilers, she's going to win. But, I mean, Orville Nation, PJ from Orville Nation, Aged Boomer, and a couple others have gone on record saying, look, she does have the advantage. She's a beautiful woman. I mean, come on.
What can you do?
I get that. I totally do.
I think it is something I'm hoping to change as well. There doesn't seem to be a lot of women streamers. There are, okay, let me take it back. There are a lot of female streamers, but I guess I'm one of those that aren't too pleased at how they get some of their viewers. I think it is insulting to men that not all men are that simple. And so I believe that you should attract people with your passion, your love, to entertain them or to provide them information, not in ways that some of them are doing it. So
I know exactly what you mean.
You know where I'm getting at.
That goes back to what we were talking about with the ASMR. I mean, that's why there's so much weirdness about that whole concept, because the vast majority of the channels out there are very vanilla, but very relaxing and very enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's the other ones,
Yeah.
which are a little, woo. It's like,
I am absolutely no prude, okay? If some of you knew my background, you'd be like, oh my God. But I mean, we won't go into that. That's a different show. That's a whole new Oprah show.
well, it's only a different show if you choose it to be, because honestly, ask Boomer.
Anything goes.
Anything
We are
goes
being very
almost.
tame today for your sake.
You don't
Otherwise,
have to be,
I'd be
okay?
dropping F-bombs left and right. I'd be, talking about all kinds of stuff.
You are so nice. You don't have to be. Hey, my background's in criminal justice. I hung around a lot of FBI agents, policemen. So if you think that my ears haven't heard some stuff, please, okay? But
That's fair. That's
yeah.
fair.
It's not that I'm a prude, because definitely I'm far from that. It is to me, like I said, what angers me more is that the way they go about it.
Yeah.
That seriously, men are not that simple. You don't. I mean, there may be some that get entertained with certain things, and that's fine and dandy. But most men are not. And I definitely get angry at the fact that that women think that men are, and it just, I don't know. It's insulting.
Now, to be fair, I did tell Troy that I heard you on your channel not swearing at all. I think you said darn instead of something else. And like, she doesn't use that kind of language. You guys need to make sure you behave yourselves.
I think it's me just trying to figure out, would I get in trouble for saying this?
Well, Boomer and I have oftentimes said, because we'll do that on one of our streams. Can we say that? And the general response is usually, neither one of us is monetized. Who cares?
Yeah, exactly. I think anybody who may have seen my stream where I was gaming, they would know that my mouth is not, Santa Maria.
We'll get to the gaming, I'm sure, in just a minute. But I did want to. There is. I think as you because you're building a brand, it's very clear. The Mistress Vampira is sensual, but not overtly sexual. You know, and I think that's really awesome. You have that voice that is intriguing and enticing, but not bawdy.
Yeah.
I mean, and I guess the word that comes to mind is classy.
Thank you.
Now that's not me and Boomer. There's no class here. Yeah, I said you were going to class up the joint just by being here. But
maybe on Birdman's channel because he's got the bow tie, or he's got the suit.
So Maria has very oftentimes complimented me on what was the adjective you used? Something like dapper. Dapper. And I was like, that's just because, I don't want to blind anyone with the ball. The shine, But actually, you know what? I don't think I've ever met... Hey, Boomer, tell me, have I ever mentioned about the hat? Where this hat comes from?
No, you might have once, but I'm not sure if I recall.
This is my grandfather's hat.
Oh, no,
nice.
didn't? Okay.
My grandfather used to wear this hat, to formal occasions and so forth. I wish he'd have worn it more because he was like me, bald, and his head would burn, and I'm like, no, you should be wearing a hat all the time, But he wore it to formal occasions and stuff like that whenever he'd wear a suit. So I've taken doing the same thing. I've got other hats that I wear when I'm less formal. So I have like a brown felt hat that I wear with a brown suede jacket.
Oh,
and so
nice,
forth.
nice.
But if you're a bald guy, you got to protect the chrome dome, But I just recently was together with my family because of a personal tragedy, and I was in a suit and I was wearing this hat, and my mom said, "Oh, you got a new hat?" I said, "No, this is Grandpa's." She's like, "It looks so good." I'm like, "I've taken good care of it and I wear it all the time."
Mm-hmm.
I didn't tell her I wear it every week on stream, but I mean, I do. I wear it
Appreciate that.
whenever I go to a wedding, a funeral, or whatever, that I got to put on a jacket, I'm going to wear the hat. And
Yes.
so that's the story behind the hat.
Well, that's a good trait to have. I absolutely love hats myself. I'm huge on hats. The
I can
styles
see, yeah.
of the 30s. I love the styles of the 30s and the 40s, and just I'm a hat person. I'm not that girly so much. Like I don't do shoes. I actually probably can count in one hand how many shoes I have. So I'm not a shoe person. I'm not a like jewelry and purses. All that. I
Sure.
love hats.
When I saw your banner on YouTube and the graphic and whatnot, when I first saw it, I thought maybe you had like a steampunk thing going on. I thought maybe
Yeah, yeah.
Victorian kind of whatever. I was like, hey, that's cool. Nanette and I used to do a lot of the Victorian steampunk. We go to the conventions. She
Oh,
made a bunch of
nice.
Victorian dresses.
No way,
Herself.
really? Oh my gosh.
Men make out easy on that because I could just go to the formal store and get tails and frock coats and stuff. And that stuff never goes out of style for men. Women have to make the bustles and the dresses.
The whole thing. I love steampunk. So you
Absolutely.
pointed that out right. Some people are like, "What kind of hat is that?" It's steampunk. I'm a huge steampunk fan. Huge fan of what's his name? Plunkett. Oh my God, a lot of his movies.
Oh, okay, yeah.
You know which one? And because a lot of his movies are steampunky and just
If,
huge on that.
have you ever heard of a steampunk convention called TeslaCon?
No, I haven't. I didn't even know there was a steampunk convention. How?
I don't know if they're still going because let's face it, the past couple of years, conventions have been,
Yeah.
Yeah, they're still going on.
Is it still going on? We used to do security for TeslaCon, which was like one of the biggest steampunk conventions in the Midwest, and so that meant that our characters in the steampunk community were like the staff. We were the characters of that,
Nice.
immersion.
Yeah, it's an immersion con.
Yeah.
So as soon as you walk
Mm.
through the doors, you are your persona, and you're your persona for the entire weekend.
Oh, nice. That would be fun.
Yeah,
I
it
think.
was, but I don't know. I don't know if those days are ever coming back. To be honest with you.
I don't know. I think more and more people liking to escape the craziness out there and enjoying being like, I think that's why I'm having so much fun doing Mistress Van Pierre because it is being able to come out of my shell a little bit more, and so enjoying that. And I kind of wanted to include some when I got together with Dave and we were having a meeting about what she was going to look like or her costume. Well, she's going to look exactly like me, but as far as her costume, I wanted to incorporate a little bit of steampunk with a tiny bit of Japanese, with a tiny bit of that. So I think I came up with something that's going to work really well.
Is her history, stretching back centuries?
I can say that. Yes.
Okay, because if that's the case, that would, make
Makes
perfect
sense.
sense.
I will say that. Yeah. So I kind of figured that would be one of the reasons why you will see different cultures and that. And also because I just love different cultures.
Yeah.
And then being a Zen priest, I have to wear the kimono underneath my robe. So when I go buy kimono, I was like, oh, look at these shoes and stuff because I love their shoes. I love all that. So I also sometimes dress like I'm from Japan.
Sure.
Oh, I wanted to mention to you, Troy, that late horror show said goodnight. He had to leave.
Oh,
Yeah.
Dino, good night. If you're still here hearing us, have a great night. Otherwise, I'll see you on the social medias, and I'll be talking to you in 2 weeks.
Yes.
But yeah, when you think about that, it makes me think of. I think vampire movies have done a poor job of this, but what actually did a great job of it was Highlander. This idea of somebody who's been living through the centuries and carrying some of that with them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why people joke about Sean Connery's character from Highlander, Ramirez, right? Who is Egyptian from Spain with a Scottish accent. And that sounds funny until you think about the fact that somebody who has lived that life, because he even expresses how his wife was the daughter of some famous Japanese, the guy that made the katana or whatever. And it's like, yeah, if he was born in Egypt, became immortal,
right,
eventually went to Japan, eventually, went to Spain, that's where all of his garb comes from. But then he's been living in Scotland, he's picked up the Scottish accent.
It's possible, especially if you're immortal. You're going to move around a little bit. You're going to get bored in one place, go the other, and you can definitely pick up cultures, and just it becomes part of you. I think it's awesome.
There have been some writers of vampire fiction that have thought that through, that have depicted their characters as kind of being mired in where they came from and not always adapting. I mean, just like a boomer, get off my lawn, and it's not like it was in my day, your rock and roll music and stuff, but hundreds of years,
Yes.
You got to put that kind of thought into it when you do it. Modern films don't put that. I mean, these sparkly vampires don't even think it through.
Sparkly vampires.
That's why it's so easy to pick apart. Ew, you're hundreds of years old and you're in love with a teenage girl?
Ew, I know, that's nasty.
I mean, to its credit, during the Moffat era, Doctor Who was like, you gotta understand, I'm 1,000 years old. You're like, you're a tiny kid. No, you.
I know. Yeah, I kind of wondered about that too. But then it'd be kind of hard to say no to a hot, sexy vampire, and regardless of his age. I'm like, so there's a few years between us?
Well, sure, from her point of view, I can dig it, but from his...
still works, whatever.
From his, it's... Ew. At least True Blood did a good job of... Did a good job of it, giving an explanation for why she was part fairy, whatever.
Yeah, they did. I have to say I did like
I'm talking about the books, of course. The movies kind of, or the show kind of did the same thing as Game of Thrones. It kind of went off the reservation.
Can I say something
Please.
True Blood?
You haven't said anything for the past hour.
I'm letting the guests talk, sir.
I know.
You're so sweet.
Anyway, all I remember about True Blood was "Yo, my biblical suck it." The awful southern accents. I remembered that.
Oh yeah, I did like it though.
The only thing that stood out in my memory was there was and I can't remember the actress's name. She went on to be in Westworld, but she played like the queen of the vampires.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, you know who I was talking about, and I just remember her because she was just gorgeous. That's the only thing I remember.
You're like, I don't remember her name.
But I very, very quickly forgot about that. In fact, we had gotten the first couple seasons on DVD, and I said to Nanette, I'm like, why don't you just sell these? Because we're never going back to this, because it completely went off the rails. And I did the same thing with Game of Thrones. We got like 4 or 5 seasons in. I said, sell these, because this went to crap really quick. And I'm never going to go back and watch it. I'll go back and read the books again. I will not go back and
I was listening to Midnight's Edge earlier. Apparently, they spent $30 million on the pilot for the new show that never happened. On the next show they were doing.
Well, Kamran Pasha has oftentimes talked about how productions work and how they're working years in advance. So they may have put a large investment into something 3 years out, and then someone screws the pooch right now, and it's like, now what do we do? And that's exactly what happened with D&D and Game of Thrones. You know, they effed it up so badly that they totally killed the franchise for HBO. HBO said, look, we're willing to go 2-3 more seasons. And they're like, nope, we want it done this season. The reason being they wanted to go on and do Star Wars. And then, of course, Disney looks at them and goes, yeah, maybe not. You know, we saw what you just did. You're not coming and doing that to us. We've already got our own problems over here.
Right.
You know, anyway.
Oh my goodness. Oh yeah. Speaking of, he's going to be on my show next week.
Who's that?
Cameron.
Wow.
He actually, I was surprised.
That's big.
Well, he was like, "Hey, can I be on your show?" And I was like, "Okay. What do you want to talk about?"
See, says, that's you. That's that female. That's you.
He was excited, I think, because he saw my friend on there from Australia's Most Haunted, and he knows we do paranormal stuff. He's going to actually come on and talk about ghost hunting and stuff.
Really?
Yeah. So he went ghost hunting with someone, and then he was supposed to come on my show that last week, and then he, you know, I think he got sick, and then so he can't. But he just got in touch with me and said, "Hey, I'm good to go now." So we scheduled it for next week. I think on Friday.
I am seriously considering doing the whole Patreon thing for him, just because.
From what he's doing,
I admire that guy so much. You know, over on Midnight's Edge, that community, they call him the seer because he understands the industry, and his predictions are spot on. And it's not because of any mysticism; it's because he knows the industry and he knows what's going on. And he's good at connecting the dots.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that Aged Boomer and I talk about all the time, about pay attention to what you see and read between the lines. Take nothing at face value.
And you know, one of the things that I admired about him is that he kept not shutting up, and that's why he got himself in the situations he did. But he didn't, and I admire people that can do that.
He kind of derides himself a little bit for that. Like, I could have been, you know, doing better if I'd have known how it worked. But at the same time, I really admire his conviction.
Yeah.
You know, I kind of put him on that pedestal with, like, Gina Carano. You know, just speak it. You know,
right.
All the people on the other side are talking about speak your truth. Speak your truth. Well, speak the actual truth, you know, and have the conviction to stand behind it.
Sorry. Oh, God. No, please don't push buttons.
Right?
He's a big boy. And
he's adorable.
He's trying to push buttons. I'm trying to get him not to. He's a rescue baby. Aww. This is Mr. Muffin. Say hi, Mr. Muffin.
Hi, Mr. Muffin.
Does Mr. Muffin interfere when you're trying to game?
Yes. He likes to try and sit on the keyboard.
Well, you know what? That's a great transition, actually. What kind of games do you play and stream?
And does Mr. Muffin have his own channel?
Good question.
Well, I don't know if you saw that the artist Yetza, who did my T and Telly banner, he changed it and included the T and Telly cats, which is Mr. Frumple and then the baby. I call him the baby. So they're now in my banner.
Sure.
And they have videos on my channel, so they're kind of in there. Which they'll probably, who knows? They'll probably get their own channel and do better than me. But yeah, they're good. He'll push stuff. Trust me. So I'm to move.
Oh no, I know.
So you were asking,
gaming.
Bit. One game that I streamed was I played Planet Side 2, and I've been playing Planet Side 2 for a very long time.
Okay.
And I used to use that as my relaxing moment after work, but it was
Okay.
more to get out frustration because you get to blow
I
up
get it.
stuff, you get to shoot things and stuff. Because I'm not a violent person, really,
No.
not.
No, but
But
sometimes the electronic pew pews can really relax you.
yeah, they can. And so I mean, I would just be sitting there going, "Die, you asshole!"
Exactly. Oh gosh, Netter will hear me doing that too. I'll be like, "Die, you son of a bitch!" And she'll be like, "Okay."
And then if somebody kills you by cheating or something, I'm like, "Oh, really?" And I will hunt them down and I will get them.
There you go.
Yeah.
And then he hears me saying, "Why won't you just die?"
Why won't you just die? And I'll be like, "Oh,
And oddly
wow."
enough, this is when he's playing The Sims.
That's what I like to Sims. That's true.
That's sad.
Netter thinks I'm just sick when I play The Sims because
Oh my God.
she's like, okay, what crazy inventive way did you come up with to kill your Sims today?
You know what? I love that game too, and I made a game after Three's Company characters.
Whoa.
Oh, okay. Let's talk The Sims. Sorry, Boomer. I thought we were going to
Fine.
get into games that you would know about. But The Sims, let me tell you something. So I've played every iteration of the Sims since the first one. Sims 1, Sims 2, Sims 3. I think we're what, on Sims 4 now?
Oh yeah.
I think
Oh
we're
my
on Sims
gosh.
4. Anyway. And what I would do is I would create houses and communities based on my favorite, TV shows. So I had when I think it was Sims 2 or Sims 3 first introduced magic and vampires into The
Ooh.
Sims.
I
I
remember
created one that was based on
Charmed.
Charmed,
Charmed. Oh no.
one that was based on Buffy, and one that was based on Smallville.
Oh
and
wow.
I had all the custom homes and
Oh
the
no.
skins and all kinds of stuff. But
You're as bad as I.
I am pretty bad. And let me tell you something. I have literally recreated the manor house from Charmed in Sims 2, Sims 3, and Sims 4. So I know intimately the floor plans of each floor of that house.
There is this guy on YouTube that goes through how he this is brilliant how he went into somebody's home, took it over, killed them off, and
Oh
ended
my
up taking
god.
their property and everything. It is
Oh.
hysterical. He actually built a pool, had them all
And
jump in the
drowned them.
pool, and build a wall around it so they couldn't
Yep.
get out, and drowned them all.
Yep,
And then
that's a common way to kill people.
I was
You
like,
can also
"Oh my
set them on
God."
fire. You can
Yes,
also
that's what
cause them to get hit by a meteor
Yes,
if you
it's
do certain
twisted.
things with the
Huh?
It really is.
telescope and whatnot.
It really is twisted.
It is very twisted. There was one, and it may be the same guy. He created I guess you'd call it dungeon, where it was all underground, and he would force these Sims into this labyrinth where they would walk back and forth until they literally either starved to death
Right.
or peed themselves
Yeah.
or they died somewhere along the way. And he'd start a whole bunch of Sims walking in and put something at the end that they were interested in to get to,
get in
and
there.
they all died by the end, but who could survive the longest?
When they got to the end, they were able to get out.
If they could get to the end, they can get out. Yeah, that's
Oh
what
my
it was.
gosh. I'm telling you, the twisted things we do to entertain ourselves. One game I do absolutely love that I go crazy for is Plants vs. Zombies.
Oh, I know that one.
Yes. And I did stream that one.
Did you
once.
say Plants versus Zombies?
Yes.
Yes.
You've
It's
never heard
on-
of You never heard of it, Troy?
It's
No?
on my
No.
channel. I streamed it just to show how to play it, but it is so fun. The Plants
How do
vs.
plants do
You
it?
have to see it. You've
Okay.
got the pea that shoots peas. And you have, see, the zombies are trying to get into your house, and the vegetables and the plants are protecting it. So you have to try and kill them off before they get to your house. And if they get through, then they've eaten your brains.
Okay, so that part of it I understand.
Like the giant flowers, don't they have like smiley faces and stuff on them when they?
Night, Tracy.
Oh, good night, Tracy.
Oh, Tracy.
Tracy, thank you so much for coming tonight. Thank you so much for promoting the channel on Twitter. You are, well, you're just beautiful. You really are.
You see why I had to have her as part of my team?
She's amazing.
Absolutely.
She's a gem. I was like, I'm gonna snag you up, girl.
Right? She is a cheerleader, and I mean that in the, beautiful, unobtainable girl in high school way.
She is. I can't even have her. I'm kidding. Tracy.
But, so, you bring up eating your brains.
Eating your brains.
Have you ever heard of Jonathan Colton?
Jonathan Curry.
I knew Netter was thinking this. Okay. I'm going to sing a little bit. I'm gonna pull a doomcock by singing a little bit. Okay? Hey, Tom, it's Bob from the office down the hall. It's good to see you, buddy. How've you been? Things have been okay for me, except that I'm a zombie now. I really wish you'd let us in. I think I speak for all of us when I say I understand why you folks might hesitate to submit to our demands. But here's an FYI. You're all gonna die screaming. All we wanna do is eat your brains. It's not unreasonable. I mean, no one's gonna eat your eyes. All we wanna do is eat your brains. We're at an impasse here. Maybe we can compromise. If you'll open up the door, we'll all come inside and eat your brains. I don't want to nitpick, Tom, but is this really your plan? Spend your whole life locked inside a mall. Maybe that's okay for now, but someday you'll be out of food and guns, and then you'll have to make the call. I just lost my place. Oh, I'm not surprised to see you haven't thought it through enough. You never had the head for all this bigger picture stuff. But Tom, that's what I do, and I plan on eating you slowly. All we want to do is eat your brains. We're not unreasonable. I mean, no one's gonna eat your eyes. All we want to do is eat your brains. We're at an impasse here. Maybe we should compromise. If you'll open up the door, we'll all come inside and eat your brains. I'd like to help you, Tom, in any way I can. I sure appreciate the way you're working with me. I'm not a monster, Tom. Well, technically I am. I guess I am. I got another meeting, Tom. Maybe we could wrap this up. I know we'll get to common ground somehow. Maybe I'll report back to my colleagues who were chewing on the door. I guess we'll table this for now. I'm glad to see you take constructive criticism well. Thank you for your time. I know we're all busy as hell. And we'll put this thing to bed when I bash your head open. All we want to do is eat your brains. We're not unreasonable. I mean, no one wants to eat your eyes. All we want to do is eat your brains. We're at an impasse here. Maybe we should compromise. If you'll open up the door, we'll all come inside and eat your brains.
And I dropped a link for the song.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you would appreciate that one, Maria.
Love it. love it.
Yeah.
One second.
So absolutely, check out Jonathan Colton. Netter's a huge fan of his. He was an internet guy before the internet became, a huge thing. He's a composer. He does music, and he came up with this ingenious idea called a thing a week. And he wanted to see if he could put himself on what he called a forced march to compose a song every week. And he did a couple covers, but for the most part, he did these crazy kinds of compositions, and he put them out there and put them in the Creative Commons. People have taken his songs and made videos of them and stuff.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
In fact, that particular song that he does, somebody took it and put it to a video made up from animation done from World of Warcraft. It's really
nice. Really, World of Warcraft? That's interesting.
Yeah, I guess people go in and pull out the animations and learn how to manipulate them and do stuff with them, and I don't know.
But, nice.
Yeah, it's funny.
Cool.
I don't know if World of Warcraft. I don't think either one of you have talked about doing MMOs online or anything like that.
I have not, but I don't know. Maybe.
How about you, Maria?
I don't think so. Not
like
yet,
World of
anyway.
Warcraft or any of that kind of stuff.
No, not yet.
Yeah, see, that's why Aged Boomer and I have a really hard time, because he's into Super Nintendo and all the console games.
Well, that's not. Yeah, like Nintendo Switch is the current one, but yeah, I like
Nintendo
Super
Switch.
I like Super Nintendo as well. Yeah,
but I'm an old fart when it comes to that stuff. All I know is Atari 2600 and Commodore, and right now I play The Sims and I play Star Trek Online.
Oh, nice. Star Trek, I haven't tried that. I do like to play Star Wars, and I do like to play. A lot of my games tend to be puzzle games, like
Netter likes the puzzle games.
Yeah, the scary ones, like
really scary,
the scary
puzzle. Oh, you mean like things like The Seventh Guest,
Resident
and stuff like
Evil.
that?
I like Resident Evil.
Yeah. I like to solve puzzles while I get the crapola scared out of me, and so yeah. Oh, I also have the VR. Oculus.
Cool.
And,
the VR thing.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. It's amazing. You got to try it. It is awesome. So I like to play that too. And
I don't know. I see that Oculus Rift, and all I think is all the sci-fi that I've seen about VR.
If you've never tried it, you have to. Your brain really cannot tell the difference.
Back in the late 80s, there was a place here in Chicago on Navy Pier that had a VR arcade type of thing, and they also had the BattleTech, where you get inside the mech and you'd fight against other people, and they had laser tag and stuff like that. But yeah, they had the early version of VR, which I thought was pretty cool, but it kind of caused me a headache because it was a little bit jarring.
Yeah.
I hear it's gotten a lot better, but
yeah, there are some games you have to get used to. I remember when I first started playing PlanetSide, it took me a while to get used to it because I'd get motion like all
yeah.
The bio something kind of steampunky game too. Bioshock. Yes, that one take a while for me too, because I would have to stop after about 15 minutes. I'd be all barfy. I'd be all
Oh my goodness.
So Wolf10 Media wants me to next time sing "No Fucks to Give." I'm gonna have to look that song up because I don't know that song.
Oh, I thought he meant koalas in the rain.
Oh, koalas in the rain. No fucks. Well, yeah, that's the one by Z Frank that Midnight's Edge has used as their closing song. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's interesting though. Wolf 10 did sing that on the one stream
so we can eat.
On the stream he was on.
Well, Wolfie's always singing. I love that about him. I'd love it if he sang a little bit more on key, but I'm not one to talk.
I'm actually speaking of singing. Oh, I'm sorry, Boomer. Were you going to say something?
No, I didn't interrupt. I just was going to ask. I'm often trying to sell Troy on a little game called Quake. I don't know if it's something you've ever played. It's a
Quake?
First-person shooter.
Is
No, not into
I haven't
those.
tried it. No,
It's an
I mean
old
that's
one.
what
Like Doom,
Fantasite
isn't
is,
it?
but
It's from the
A
people that made
first-person
Doom.
shooter?
It was what they made
oh,
after Doom, and the big deal was you could look around in all directions and jump, and that was a big deal back in the day.
mm,
They recently re-released it though in a remastered version, but it's pretty neat.
I have an
trying
early version of Quake on a CD-ROM, but I'd have to pull out an old 386
Well,
computer.
you can
to
get it
play
off Steam if you wanted to do that. Just
yeah.
Oh,
I
okay.
I actually have a huge library of games in Steam. I
Okay,
mean, it's
so okay, as
surprising.
long as we're on games, let me ask about this game. Have either of you? Because I know it's available on Steam. Have
What?
you played the what is that Blair Witch? Have you played the Blair
Oh
Witch?
my gosh, no.
No,
I
is
played
it the new
Friday
one?
13th, but not Blair
I
Witch.
don't know if it's new or not, but it's a first-person game.
Oh
Mhm.
You
wow.
play somebody who is going into the woods to look for some kid that went missing or something, and you
Ah.
are on your own because you got there late and everyone else has already gone off in their groups to look.
Mm-hmm.
You go in and you've got like a pamphlet and you got a dog with you. That's the big key to the game. There's a dog with you that kind of helps you, and if you pay attention to the dog, it kind of gives you warnings when there's something else, and so on and so
Oh
forth.
yeah.
But the problem with it is it's a little glitchy, especially in the responses with the dog and the responses with the Blair Witch, I guess, that's stalking you. And I got to be honest with you, I've played the game a couple times, and I just keep quitting because it's like I can't figure out what I'm doing, where I'm going, what the heck. I'm just wandering around the woods, and I'm like, yeah, well, this is a pretty good game that replicates the movie. I'm just wandering around the frickin' woods. There's nothing
I know.
happening.
It kind of reminds me of Friday 13th. You play Jason, and so you go around, killing teens. And I'm not a killer, I guess, because I'm like, I can't kill these people. I'm tickling
Yeah,
them.
because what's his name? Jesse from the Crow's Nest and Lindsay the Cynical Geek have streamed that, and
Oh, really?
I was blown away because he was playing Jason and she was playing like the
One of
victim,
the victims.
and they're playing like against each other, or
Right.
maybe they were both playing victims and someone else was playing Jason. I don't know, but the fact was you're playing against other players, and I'm like, that's actually pretty damn cool,
Yeah. I think that's one of the things I keep bringing up the game, but seriously, I play it so long, I just really like it. The only thing that irritates me about PlanetSide is that they were supposed to bring in something to keep cheaters from cheating. And I don't think it ever happened because you still get them. I mean, I'm talking about cheating as in they can shoot you through a wall kind of thing, and then it's not supposed to happen. Things like that where they're warping and you can't
See,
catch
I
them
have
and
to
stuff
wonder
like that.
about that because, I don't run into that too much in Star Trek Online because I almost never do the player versus player stuff. I go into if the daily, endeavor requires you to participate in a PvP, I'll just go in, make a half-hearted attempt, die, and
Come back.
get my points, because the people in this that do PvP all the time, they just kill you like that
They do.
before you blink, and I'm like, how the heck do you do that? I have
Right.
like the best ship with the best weapons. How are you doing this? I can only imagine there's some cheating going on, but I don't know
Yeah,
enough
that's
about
how
that
you have
hacking
to.
bullshit to know.
And that's what's funny is that sometimes they stream themselves live doing it,
Yeah,
and you can sometimes they accidentally show their
that they're
cheating
doing it.
things.
Yeah.
They're cheating things. You're like, oh, okay, well, and I
Well,
have earned my badges by not cheating and playing
Yeah.
it through and through, and I'm so proud of that. And I've ranked up. I can even run platoons and all that other stuff. So I'm really good
I've
at
seen
it.
some YouTube videos of gamers. Well, people doing videos about gamers talking about people that have gotten caught cheating
Yeah.
with band and whatnot. That's not a big thing on Star Trek Online because it's
Yeah.
mostly you against, or you in a group against the game.
Gotcha.
You
That
you-
works.
You can form parties to take on a mission or whatever. And if you are playing against another player group, it's like you're not fighting directly. You're in a race to get through something or whatever.
I have to check those out.
Well, it's free to play. I happen to be a subscriber, a lifetime member, so I get the in-game credits every month, but you don't need it at all to play. And
yeah, that's like playing the site as well.
I feel like you got to focus your gaming, and that's the one that I play every single day, and kind of spatter around. I mean, The Sims, I'll go for months not play, and then I'll jump in. I'll go, there's a bunch of expansions. Let me spend about $20 downloading, new content or whatever.
Yeah, that's how I am too. But it's nice to be versatile. I think I surprised a lot of the guys once when I announced, "Hey, I'm going to stream this game." They're like, "What? She's games?" Like,
she's a girl and she's a gamer.
I'm a gamer.
That's like a unicorn,
I know.
Next thing you're gonna say you like comic books.
Yeah, right?
Sure as
So,
heck do.
Maria, check out, and I know Nanette would bring this up if I gave her a chance to get a word in edgewise. She follows this channel called Viva La Dirt League. And they do a series. They do a couple of different series where they play out as though they were in particular games. One of them is PUBG, which is a first-person shooter type game.
Right.
Welcome to the town of Honeywood.
And the other one is, it's kind of like, I don't know if it's meant to be like World of Warcraft or something.
No, it's not World of Warcraft.
Do you remember what game it was?
I can't remember off the top
That's
of my head.
okay. But they acted out, and even though I've never played either one of those games, they rip on the tropes of MMOs. So they do the thing where the NPC is glitching, and stuff, or you can't progress in a game because of some glitch,
Right.
or you can do certain exploits because of the way it's written and stuff. And if you're a gamer, it's just very, very fun.
I have to check that out.
You can't pass by this portion because you don't have a high enough level, and you're like right there, and it's like, I'll just pick this flower. Hey, look at that! I just leveled up.
Yeah. Or they have this really pretty blonde girl who plays a character, and she has this one. It's probably their most popular video where she tries to get like the best armor, but every time she goes to pick it up, it turns into bikini mail, and she's like, in what way is this going to protect me?
Right, exactly.
And all the other players are going, no, it's magic. It really works. You should try it on.
Or one of the first ones I saw was, I'm just a girl.
Oh,
I need
yeah.
some
The
coins.
pretty
Does
girl
anyone
that
have
comes
any
in and just
gold?
pretends she's dumb, and people just start giving her money because
Oh, no.
she's the pretty girl and she's able to buy
Yeah, because
stuff.
she first goes up to the shop and she's like, okay, so like, I want to buy some armor. And he goes, you don't have enough gold for that. Well, how about some food?
Well, you don't have enough
still
gold
don't have any gold.
for that.
You must be new. So the way that you pay for things is you earn gold, and then you can buy things. And then she goes, but I'm just a girl.
I don't know how to get money. And then all of a sudden these
anyone
guys
have any
come up and start
extra
just giving her money. And she's like,
gold?
thank you so much. Thank you.
I'll call
Oh,
you.
God. I hate that. That's crazy.
Oh,
God.
yeah, Viva La Dirt League, you'd love it. Check it out on YouTube. They're a lot of fun. But that's gamers for you. And then we just lost Maria.
Well, maybe she'll pop in again.
I'll bet you it was the cats.
Are you going to ask her about like scary stuff, like ghosts?
Oh, you want me to go back to that? Okay.
You don't have to. You don't have to.
No.
Because maybe it's a sensitive subject and we shouldn't bring it up. I don't know.
No,
okay,
you're absolutely right, because that'll give her an opportunity to promote her other.
She said, just a sec.
I'm just a girl.
You're just a girl. Yeah, I know. Maria, just a sec. Oops, LOL, just a sec. I'm just a girl. Hello. now you're on mute. I can't hear you. Nope, still don't hear you.
Do you know who else?
No, it's your mic. It's not that you're muted. It's your mic isn't coming through. Nope. Still no.
Oh, a little bit.
Okay, you're coming through that other mic where you sound like you're far away in a box.
Far away.
There you go.
That's
okay,
a little better.
come
Yeah.
in.
There
Sorry.
you go.
It didn't even take my cat to do that. It was me.
Can I make a mention of something, Troy? You know
Go
who
for
else
it,
was
Agent
just
Boomer.
a girl? Lizzie Borden.
Oh my gosh.
I don't know why.
I am going to. This never comes up in conversation, but since it did, I'm going to talk about this. First, let me say hi to Mananui.
Hi, Mananui.
Glad to see you there. If you were here earlier, I'm sorry if I missed you. But Lizzie Borden, honestly, I've read the history, and I haven't seen enough evidence where if I was on a jury, I would convict her.
What?
Okay. I haven't seen the evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. So I feel like history has painted her in a very unfair light. By the same token, speaking of history painting women in an unfair light, I'm going to throw out Mary of Magdalene. There is nothing in the Bible that said that she was a prostitute.
No,
that
that's
is a
correct.
misreading of Scripture, where they talk about a woman of poor morals, not specifically saying she was a prostitute. And then in the next passage, they talk about Mary of Magdalene. They are not the same person. There's no reason to believe they are. So I just want to speak for women in history that I feel have been much maligned.
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, Troy.
And it's not just women. I'm sure there's men too. I mean, I think history needs to be looked at with as critical an eye as we look at current events.
Yes, but I saw the made-for-TV movie with the actress from Bewitched in it when she played Lizzie Borden, and you saw her, killing her parents. And this is
Fiction.
Made in the 70s. Are you saying 70s television movies are sensationalistic?
Based on a true story means it's fiction. Just saying.
Right. Exactly. That's how I feel too.
Oh.
You know how I am, Boomer, when it comes to history and being accurate. You know that's why I can't stand the Titanic. That's why I can't stand Pearl Harbor.
All
You know,
those. I'm
Get
just
the
gonna-
history right, damn it.
Yes.
Okay.
You know
That's a
what?
sore spot for Troy.
Yes, it is.
Get the history right.
Yeah, I was going to tell you. I know I'm the guest now, but my mom is calling me, and it's kind of urgent. So,
You need to step away?
I might need to go in a bit just because my mama's calling me, and it's kind of urgent. So,
No, it's fine.
That's fine. I understand.
I'm like,
If you-
I feel bad, but she's
No,
kinda,
if you need to drop out, just let us know, and we will continue the show. No
'cause,
problem.
yeah, and but I'm so happy that you had me on here, though.
Absolutely.
It's
And
been
guys,
so fun.
if you have joined us very recently, as I know you have, Madanui, in the description down below is the link to Maria's channel. Please.
And I'm going to drop it again, too.
And Nanette's going to drop it in the chat. Please go and subscribe and help her to get to 400 and beat me in the race.
Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, I'm losing my voice here. 1 second.
It's okay.
Yes. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure, and I feel bad because I'm a guest and all, but yeah, things have been going crazy.
No, it's fine.
Did I tell you my grandmother's she's 106, right?
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
God bless.
So when she calls, I get a little urgent, because
I get that.
yeah. So
So
But
you need to
thank
return
you.
her call?
yes, and
Okay.
but I want to thank you so much for having me on. And it's been such a pleasure. And Netter, you are always lovely as well to have
Right.
as well. And Boomer, so good to work with you.
Oh, pleasant meeting you. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, sorry I didn't let you talk much. I tend to.
No,
do
no,
that.
it's fine. I
No,
wanted to hear
it
what
wasn't
had
you.
to
It
say.
was me that didn't let him talk much.
Uh,
That's okay. He'll talk for the whole next hour. No problem.
Well, I'm sure we'll be visiting each other's channels soon. So
absolutely, thank you for coming on and giving me a little bit of giving me a huge boost that got me over the 300 mark. And what is it that PJ always says? We grow together.
We grow together.
There is a Klingon saying, "We succeed as a greater whole."
Yes.
And
absolutely.
I super appreciate that.
Yeah.
I will, Nanette and I will be praying for your grandmother.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Your situation
Thank
and
you.
your family, and keep us posted. And
I will do.
And I'll be seeing you real soon.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks for
Thank you,
joining us.
everybody. Have
Bye,
a wonderful
sweetie.
evening. Bye. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Good night.
So I do want to address the question that Wolfie asked. He said, "Can someone explain to me why Abel's offer was more favorable than Cain's? Because I do not understand." Okay. Age of Boomer, do you have any insight on that before I jump into it?
Okay, well, my insight comes from the movie The Bible, the Hollywood movie.
That's fair.
When and according to the movie, and I'm not saying this is scripture,
Sure.
according to the movie, it looked like Abel was, I think, slaughtering a lamb in favor of God, and Cain brings over some fruit he got from the field and maybe takes a little bit out, and it's and it's kind of just not a rejected offering, like he wasn't making a sacrifice in his offering. But that's probably completely wrong. Correct me, Troy, or maybe it isn't. Okay.
Well, okay. So no, you're not wrong, okay? Because the movie The Bible is drawing on the conventional wisdom.
Right.
They made a how would you put it? A good faith effort.
Right.
In that regard, based on the common wisdom of the time. Honestly, theologians have debated this for quite some time. It is not clear from a simple reading of Scripture why God would accept one offering over another. The only thing one can assume is that God knows the heart of the giver, right? And slaughtering a lamb maybe was a true sacrifice, whereas sacrificing the produce, maybe he wasn't giving the best of the fruit that he had. Maybe he was giving second best, third best. The Scripture does not say that, though. That is entirely speculation, because you have to assume there must be something there. The only other theory that I've heard is it possible that God considers a blood sacrifice more valuable than some other kind of sacrifice? That is also possible, because the life is in the blood and so forth. It's a true sacrifice of life, but that becomes very difficult to really wrap your head around when you start thinking about, well, then why is it in the post-Christian era that we are no longer slaughtering lambs? Then we are giving a tenth of our finances, of our money.
I don't know. I know that you could argue Christianity partly begins because of the ultimate blood sacrifice, if you think about it. But
I would say that's an excellent point.
That's another
the
point,
sacrifice of Christ and so forth, and whether you accept that as your sacrifice or not.
Right.
I would also say that you need to. It also depends on whether you're looking at it from a Jewish point of view or a Christian point of view.
Right.
You're going to get two different answers. I really am answering this from a Christian primarily point of view. And if you look to what Christ said that God judges the heart, right? And that your offerings are like dirty rags to God. Because it depends, he even said that if a man gives out of his wealth, it means nothing to God. But, a poor person who gives his last 2 pennies to God, means so much more.
Right. I remember that.
So it really depends on the heart of the person that's giving. And we have no way of knowing from the scripture what Abel's heart was and what Cain's heart was. We can infer it by what happens later. So looking back at that passage, you could say, yeah, maybe that's what God was looking at. But yeah, if you just look at what was being sacrificed, that's a hard one to answer.
I guess that's the old thing though about, someone's favored and someone is less favored, right? And that's facts of life, right?
Yeah. And why is that? If God is fair, there's got to be a reason for it. And you have to kind of read between the lines of scripture in order to figure that out. Matanui says, to be fair, Titanic is a historical fiction. It never claimed to be based on a real story. That is true. But I do feel like there is a responsibility by the writer and director of the film. If you are portraying real people, you have an obligation to that history. And especially with Titanic, the big problem I have with the Titanic is that the depiction of the first officer, in my personal opinion, is historically slanderous.
Right.
It depicts him as firing into a crowd and then committing suicide. And there is no basis in real history for that. And that man who died in the events of the Titanic has a living family today. So that's why I consider these things to be important. Even if it's 100 years out and that person's no longer around, that person has been slandered and his family name is slandered. And so when we are playing loose with this concept of historic fiction, I have a real problem with that. I have less of a problem with historic fiction when you're talking about things that we don't have a lot of information about. So when you go back and you look at, for example, and I hate that I'm always defending Zack Snyder with this one, but the 300. You look at the 300, and honestly, I would defy anybody to pick that apart from a historic standpoint. You could pick apart, yeah, that's not the armor that they wore, that's not what Xerxes looked like, blah, 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 blah. But the broad points of the story come directly from Herodotus, as it was reported. You could argue whether or not Herodotus was embellishing or not, but that's the history that we know. That's all we have to go on. So...
Wolf 10 has a comment for you. He hated that scene, and now he's infuriated with that scene from Titanic. I'm assuming.
Let me see.
It's the latest.
His latest comment. There we go. I'm sorry. Now that I'm in StreamYard, I can bring these up. I hated that scene. Now I'm infuriated with that. Oh yeah. See. So yeah, he's almost depicted as a villain, right? And that's what I mean. When you find out that that's a work of fiction that took a real person and painted them as a villain when we have no reason to believe that's true, yeah, you really should be. Now, going back to Matanui's, point about it's a historic fiction, fine. You could argue whether or not the band played Nearer My God to Thee or another song, because there is some debate about that. But you still need to make a good faith effort. I think if you're going to do a historic fiction, it's fine to create a character like Jack and whatever her name was and tell their story. That's complete fiction. But all the historic facts that frame it need to be accurate. I would say the same thing about Pearl Harbor, okay? Because one thing I will say about Pearl Harbor, that whole movie is a bunch of fluff about fake people that didn't exist, except for Cuba Gooding Jr.'s character. His character is a real historic figure, and it was historically accurate.
Okay.
Go back and watch it, and you will go, oh my gosh.
So his story was true, but everything else
He
around
was a
him, yes.
real hero. I'm sorry, I'm feeling a little fuzzy from the wine, so I can't remember the details. I can't remember the character's name.
Do you know who takes World War II movie accuracy very seriously? Is Tom Hanks, actually. Did you know that?
I was going to say Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg.
Even with that latest movie, he did Greyhound, he was trying to be very they were trying to be very accurate as to how those ships operated on the seas during World War II. That's a fictional story. That
there have
movie.
been a
It's not
bunch of
based, but
stories lately.
Yeah.
Whether it's Dunkirk or what was the other one with Gary Oldman playing?
Darkest Hour.
Darkest Hour is another one. Midway only bothers me because I feel like they crammed too much into one movie. They could have made 3 damn movies out of that. That was so good.
Well, did you like Midway? I'm curious, actually.
I did like Midway.
Okay.
But again, I feel like it just went too fast and glossed over too much.
I went into that with low expectations because I think the same team that had done Pearl Harbor made that, and I
had the same reaction.
Yeah. But actually, I was actually pleasantly surprised. It was actually more nuanced than I thought it was.
In fact, that's what really bothered me, because the stuff they did about Pearl Harbor in Midway was better than the whole damn movie of Pearl Harbor.
Pearl Harbor, yeah. What I thought was interesting when you're watching that movie Midway, though, you realize that the Japanese had better technology than we had in that battle, didn't they? We were really...
When the Japanese referred... I can't remember who the admiral was in the Japanese Navy who referred to us as a sleeping giant. They were absolutely right. We were sleeping. And they gave us a kick in the ass. And that was not a smart thing for them to do, you know?
Yeah, but they were that battle could have gone another way. It really was the bravery of those pilots, I think, that saw us through. That's...
But Wolfie had said, let me see where it is. Looking back, he said that looking back, he didn't like how they depicted the military in Pearl Harbor. Honestly, I gotta say, because I hated that movie so much, I only saw it the once, and I don't remember much about it. But there are historical reasons to kind of be like, you guys were pretty much asleep at the wheel. You kind of let this happen to yourself. And it's only because I personally believe because of divine providence that the whole Navy wasn't wiped out in Pearl Harbor. You know, we just got really, really lucky. But no, Matanui, I'm sorry. I don't know much about Assassin's Creed. I know... in fact, that's probably more up Aged Boomer's alley.
I even have some of them. I've never gotten into that series. It's a big thing, though. It's basically they're historical games set in different time periods, and it's like the Assassin's Guild versus the Templars, and how these organizations masquerade and go in different points in human history, okay? And that's sort of what it is. Like the Templars are the adversaries. You're playing a member of the Assassin's Guild. But I'm not an expert on that series. But I do know that they are all set in different periods. Like in fact, some of the more recent games, they even had them set in ancient Greece. So that might have been prior to the Templar conflict and stuff like that. But yeah.
And
they start out in the Crusades. Yeah.
One other, I guess it's not really a movie. It's more of a mini series. That I highly recommend is that John Adams, I think was it HBO that did it or Showtime, with Paul Giamatti.
Which one? What are you talking about?
I think wasn't it called John Adams?
Oh no, John Adams. Oh, I highly recommend you check out John Adams. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah, I have. Yeah, I've got it on DVD.
That was based on David McCullough's book. I
got the book for Nanette, and I got the movie for Nanette because she has often said that John Adams is her favorite president, and I know she loves 1776. I enjoy it too, but some of the historical inaccuracies needle a little bit.
It's a musical, though. I mean, they weren't singing either, okay?
They play fast and loose. Yeah. But when I saw John Adams, I'm like, here it is. This is, I mean, some of the dialogue, they must have used the same school of thought that the writers of Gettysburg and Gods and Generals used. They used the diaries and the correspondence of these actual historical figures to put together the dialogue. It is incredible. Just listening to the language will uplift you. It really will. and that's I'm totally getting off topic now, but this is why reading is so important. If you have not read, that John Adams book, if you have not read Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, if you have not read Bram Stoker's Dracula, the language in these older stories is very uplifting. You connect with the language. It conveys more than just simple descriptions. There is no visual media that does these kinds of words justice, and I feel like modern writing, for the most part, has lost that skill and that romance, and I see it creeping into our culture as I see the way people write in social media and whatnot. I read what people and people make jokes about using there and there and two and two and stuff, and it's like that's the low-hanging fruit. Language is a beautiful art form that I feel like people have really lost because they don't read.
Yeah.
Sorry, just my little preaching for the night.
No, I mean they were probably less than we were. I mean, to be fair though, I don't know. It's what did there was a comment in one of my favorite movies where the one the Jeff Daniels character is a rather obnoxious like English literary professor type, and he goes, I'm reading a tale. His son says, I'm reading a tale of two cities, and he says, it's mine or Dickens. Why do they always have you read the worst books by the best authors? So I don't know if the schools don't encourage the
it's funny you say that, because when I was in high school, I thought that, but I assumed it was my own naivete. And then later in college, when I was studying Shakespeare, I realized I was right in the first place. His most exalted works were his earlier and crappier, plays like Romeo and Juliet. I always hated Romeo and Juliet. Come to find out, it was one of his early plays and not one of his best. You know.
Yeah, I'm kind of middle on that one, but I like Henry V. That's my favorite Shakespeare play. But.
Here's in my experience with Shakespeare, here's what I found to be a good rule of thumb that'll let you know before you get too far into it if it's going to be good or not. If the iambic pentameter, the structure of the, quatrains and so forth is like perfect, it's probably going to suck. If he's a little more loosey-goosey with the language, it's probably going to be pretty good writing. That's been my experience.
Oh, Wolf 10 says he can always tell us sometime about Assassin's Creed if you're interested.
I mean, if that's something you want to focus, because you're the gamer, I defer to you on that kind of stuff.
I'm just if maybe we have a history stream sometime, huh?
Yeah.
But historical accuracy, though, you were saying. Where were we talking about? We're just talking about. Well, he hated Titanic.
Sir Torrin Clegane said Romeo and Juliet was one of his first stage productions I ever saw, so I had a soft spot for it. I gotta say, I saw the first version of Romeo and Juliet that I saw was that one back in the 70s on TV.
Franco Zeffirelli.
Yes, that one. But I didn't see it until after I had seen West Side Story with Natalie Wood and Rita Moreno and whatnot, which is, let's face it, basically the same story. And honestly, you compare the two, and I'm like, that Romeo and Juliet, those kids were dumbasses, Whereas West Side Story, I dig that one a little bit more. That wasn't really them being stupid, in my opinion. So I was already flavored by that. So then I go back in high school and actually read Romeo and Juliet, and I'm like, no, these kids are still dumbasses, I mean, really. I remember my English teacher in high school even saying something like, what was it? Which is the first one that's faking their death, and the other one is so distraught kills himself? And it's like, you don't even freaking find out if the person you love so much might possibly be saved. You quickly go to the suicide. You know, that's dumb. That's selfish. That's, what the hell's wrong with you? And I'm like, yeah, right?
And then Juliet wakes up from her sleep.
What it was.
And it's like, oh no, my love has been poisoned. He's dead.
Yeah.
Oh, happy dagger. Let me just kill myself.
Yeah, and it's like, maybe take him to somebody, see if you can save him first before you off yourself.
Did they have paramedics back then? I'm just saying.
You know, I mean, they had the equivalent.
Listen to me. The rules say that they have to die, just like Jack had to die.
That's bad
in Titanic. Remember, he had to sink into the water so Rose could live, even though they could technically both stay on the board.
That's why I give a lot more latitude to like Hamlet. You know, I mean, when you start bringing supernatural elements into it, there's one of two ways to look at that. Either he was hallucinating, and you can kind of excuse everything with insanity, or he was seeing an actual supernatural character, in which case you better probably listen to him, you know?
No, there's some complicated things about this visage of his dad, because, for one, where is he? Is he stuck in purgatory? Is he in hell? Is it like because he didn't have the last rites and he's angry about it? But then why is he telling his son to avenge his death and commit a mortal sin to help him get? You see, none of that makes any sense. It's very weird when you look at that.
That's why you really have to take it a little bit at face value and say, okay, what is the narrator really communicating?
Is that indeed his dad, or is it something else, or is it in his head? I don't know.
Since there is nothing else that would corroborate it being something else, you have to take it at face value. And if you do that, then you go, well, what matches up is his father has given him some information that kind of pans out. I was betrayed and murdered. And it turns out to be the case. And I don't know. Maybe it's because I've read Hamlet in the original Klingon, but I do see the need to extract the revenge. And
well, in a Klingon culture, it would, right?
Let me tell you something. Okay, now we're getting off on something. Okay, like I said, I've read the Klingon version of Hamlet, and you really have to explain why. Because if it was a true Klingon story, Hamlet finds out that his father was murdered by his uncle. He just walks up to him and says, I challenge you because you killed my father. It's a duel of honor, and then kills the fucker. That's it. Story's over. The only reason that it stretches out and he does the whole tachbeh is because he has studied Vulcan philosophy and he's all fucked up in the head over it. But once he gets his shit together, he goes, fuck it, I'm going and doing the duel, you know? But that's what it comes down to. You could believe what you want to believe religiously, but then there's just, damn it, what's right. His father was murdered. His mother and his uncle betrayed the family and his father and indirectly him. You know, he's just kind of setting things right. And I understand from a Catholic point of view that's a mortal sin, but one could argue that from another point of view, karma, kismet, honor, duty.
Yes, but that was supposed to have been. It's very odd. That's all. And
one could also argue that,
especially that it's its spirit wanting it. It's very. It's
because
weird. Okay.
Whether you take it literally or figuratively, the dead father, his spirit lives on, whether it's a literal apparition or the fact that he was murdered and that has ramifications for his son. His son finds out through whatever means that his father was murdered. He needs to act. It's his duty as the son, you know? And think about that. Imagine if every son had that level of honor, right? Especially a prince, because he stands to gain the throne by the death of his father, right? Oh, well, I become king. Okay, I'm good with it. No, because honor for his family comes before, any personal gain or potential. He is willing to give up his life for honor. I mean, that's what makes it such a great Klingon story,
I wonder how the Klingons would handle Macbeth.
I know that there was a Klingon Language Institute project to translate it. I want to see how that turns out. I'm sorry, Wolfie. I don't know what Black Annie is. I need more context.
Oh, there was a live Annie production recently. Like, how like...
Oh, yeah. I heard about that, yeah.
And, yeah, it's...
Look, here's my thing on that, okay? If you are doing a stage production of Annie, and you want to cast Annie as a black actress, I don't see a problem with that. Because you always have to be recasting Annie if you're going to be playing it on stage. I don't care who you cast Annie as in a movie. You didn't need to make another version of Annie. We already had it. It was done. It's over with. There's no reason to remake that play. It was already perfect. You want to go see it, with, Carol Burnett. Okay? You don't need to remake that movie. Just saying.
Do you think they could do a Ferengi version of Glengarry Glen Ross?
That would be good. Yes, that would be Glee Grubs are for closers.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
I could see that.
It would
Latin
be even
rum is
worse,
for closers.
probably.
Yeah. Right? No, yeah, that would be
Umax is for
Umax.
closers.
That's right. Well, that would make it a whole different story, to be honest with you. Yeah, I've actually, in fact, when I was at my first big meeting for the Klingon Language Institute, we were talking about other projects that could be translated into Klingon, and I said, what would be a good one? Would be Les Miserables. And we started thinking through, okay, the Thénardiers would be Ferengi. Boom. No problem there. I could see Javert as a Romulan. Valjean, Klingon? Yeah, I could see that. I don't know. We and then, of course, we spent most of our time translating the songs half-heartedly into Klingon. It was actually a lot of fun. But Daddy Warbucks sounds like a pimp name. Yeah, kinda.
Did you know when I saw the original movie version, I was so young that I thought Daddy Warbucks and Lex Luthor were the same character?
They kind of were. If you think about it.
But I'm trying to think. Yeah, they do those. Mm-hmm.
Do you remember? And Bernadette Peters. I'll tell you what. Anything Bernadette Peters was in, I had such a crush on her. I really did.
Is there any actress you don't have a crush on?
Oh yes, there are a lot. There are
Probably
a lot that
modern,
I cannot stand.
I suspect a lot of modern actresses.
A lot of modern actresses. Yeah. There's some older actresses, too, that just need to keep their mouths shut.
Oh, man. Did you hear what 50 Cent said to Madonna recently? That was a big thing.
I barely even know who 50 Cent is.
I think he was a hip-hop artist, but
Okay.
I think Madonna was doing some sexy poses and 60s. I forgot what he said. It was like, cover your ass or something. He says something like that, or like I don't know, like cover up. Like no one wants to see that at this point.
You know what? It's
It's
really hard to take Madonna seriously ever since, her rant about wanting to blow up the White House or whatever it was.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know.
And
she
then
did that.
then she
Okay.
got drunk and she was doing the fried fish thing on YouTube or whatever, a video she was doing under lockdown. It's like, you know what? Just stop drunk streaming, stop whatever it is you think you're doing. Just, oh my gosh, I don't know.
I stand corrected. He's a rapper. Sorry.
Okay.
50 Cent. 50 Cent.
But back to Annie, the one thing I do remember was Edward Herman as FDR. He was the quintessential FDR to me. You know the actor I mean, right?
Which actor?
Edward Herman.
Edward Herman. I don't know who that is.
He played FDR in the Annie movie. He also played Lorelei's dad in the Gilmore Girls. Oh, I'm trying to think. What else
Oh, I
he
know
was
who you're
in.
talking about. Oh no, I know who you're talking about. Great actor. Hold on.
Incredible actor. Yeah, he was in.
Do you know who played a good FDR on Atlantic Crossing? Kyle MacLachlan played FDR in a recent
Really?
miniseries. Yes.
No kidding. Really?
It was on PBS. It was a Norwegian production. It was Atlantic Crossing. It was about how the Princess of Norway was trying to escape after Norway was invaded by the group I'm not supposed to mention on YouTube. But, and the FDR smuggled her out of the country when she was in Sweden because things were getting... She was worried the Swedes were going to turn her over, right? So she was able to escape, and he basically helped her out in the United States to, basically rule from afar, basically. That was a whole...
Wow.
Actually, that'd be something interesting. I wonder what your historical, what you think of that.
I probably don't know enough about it, but yeah, I remember. Oh yeah, he also played the lead vampire in Lost.
Yeah, I
Boys,
know who you're talking
which is
about.
kind of a spoiler because you go through the whole movie not realizing he's a vampire. until
Edward
the very
Herman,
end.
Richard Gilmore. Yep, Edward Herman.
But yeah, I remember because there was that kind of friendly animosity that FDR had with Daddy Warbucks in the movie, which as a kid I didn't fully understand, but as an adult I got that Daddy Warbucks was probably a Republican, so they had that kind of, yeah, we're both, associates as far as power brokers in the U.S., but a little bit of adversarial as far as philosophy. But just like lawyers, you might be on the opposite sides, but you're still friendly to each other. And I love the bit where it was the big song, the big number in the movie. The sun will come out tomorrow, and FDR says to Daddy Warbucks, he goes, "Sing, Oliver. That's an order from your commander-in-chief." And that's what Daddy Warbucks said. Oh, that was classic stuff. Yeah, good memories.
Cool.
Yeah, I know he's a Democrat, but he's still a human being. Well, back then you're right. Back then, a Democrat was still a human being. Now they're not Democrats anymore. Now they're socialists, and now they're not human beings, in my opinion.
Interesting. Artificial Joni says the King of Norway hated Sweden because he was denied entry. Yeah, on the series he was over in England. That's where he was housed.
Good point, Artificial Joni. Yeah, I mean there are some aspects of history I'm very dimly aware of. I care about history, but that doesn't mean I know it all, so, yeah.
Cool.
Sir Torin, that was one of my favorite lines in the show. Yeah, exactly. The other one that I remember, and it's completely unrelated, was Annie when she's doing her, positivity, where she talks about, where the one is talking about how how rough things are. She says something about cold hands. Well, it's a good thing you have those empty pockets. I don't remember the exact line, but it was, her whole silver lining thing, and it's dialogue in and around that whole Hard Knock Life song. I love that aspect of her where she's got that very positive attitude where everyone else is really down on everything. Which of course leads to the whole thing where she goes to Daddy Warbucks and they do the whole thing. We've got Annie and da-da-da-da and this and that and the other. And she's like, so Annie, where would you like to start? And Annie looks around the mansion. She goes, well, I guess I'll start with the windows because then whatever drips I can get when I get the floors. And they're like, no. You don't understand why you're here. You're not here to clean. We got people to do that. She doesn't totally get the idea at first, I kind of love that naivete of hers. That's good stuff. But wow, this is what happens when the special guests leave. We just go off on all kinds of tangents, don't we? Holy crap!
It's getting late though.
It is, and we probably should see. That's why you're my designated driver, because I'll go all night if you don't rein me in. And then Nanette will be over here going, I want to go to bed, damn it.
Well, it's 20 minutes, and now I don't care.
Well, that's true. That's true. You don't have to necessarily get up early tomorrow. Although I do want to get out to a matinee tomorrow so we can see Ghostbusters Afterlife.
Ghostbusters again.
Go. Have you seen it yet, Aged Boomer?
I did. Yes. Yeah, I saw it.
Good.
I saw it the first screening available. I did it on the Thursday at 4:00. The week it came out, because I was like,
you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I didn't want to get spoiled on it, so I figured, you know what, I have off today. I'm going to go to the theater. I know I liked it immensely. We should. Al and I were talking a bit on the week you were absent, but of course I told him no spoilers. But at some point you should do a show where we talk.
Yeah, I did listen to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
But I was only half listening. I
no,
really wasn't in the best frame of mind.
You had a lot going on. I'm not. Yeah, it's fine.
But yeah, I did listen to you guys. I super appreciate Al jumping in and helping out that week. And I super appreciate you giving me a couple weeks off there as far as the notes go and everything. But you may, I know that about you, Sir Torrin. He says you might get me off the cuff on West Side Story next week. I'm going to try and check it out before the stream. Yeah. I know that you have the same sensibilities as me about loving musical theater. I've often said that I know more about Broadway and musical theater than any straight guy does. Same thing with makeup. I know more about makeup than a straight guy has any business knowing.
So that'll be next week, Sir Torrin Clegane, right?
Yep. Next week will be Sir Torrin Clegane. We'll be talking. He's got some things he wants to talk about regarding our whole rethinking the DC cinematic universe and some of what's good out there, some of the things that we could be working on and thinking about. But tomorrow night, the rewatch is over on
At Big Al's.
Big Al's. What is it?
I don't remember.
Big Al, you still in the chat, or did you fall asleep on us?
We're doing a rewatch. I'll find out. Hold on.
We're doing a rewatch over on Big Al's channel. Love it if you come and join us. Then Monday morning over on Matthew Flynn's channel, the Guardian of Kaon, we will be talking about Ben 10 Omniverse.
I thought that was next week.
No, we have 2 weeks in a row because we're trying to get it done before the end of the year.
National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. That's what you're watching.
Oh, right.
Tomorrow.
Christmas Vacation.
That's a good one.
That's a good one. That is a good one. Matt Inouye said, for me, when it comes to historical fiction, just don't do things that clearly wouldn't have been noticed. And by the same token, I would, yeah, that's true. If you're going to speculate, don't speculate beyond the pale. My other big problem is just the historical inaccuracies. I've heard about productions that have spent a great deal of money when they realize things like, I don't know, zippers hadn't been invented yet. So they refilm a bunch of scenes with corrected costuming or something. I respect the hell out of that kind of stuff. You know, I know it seems pedantic, but it's important because I think even those little details, you need to get a perspective. When you watch a historical film, you want to kind of get into the mindset of what it was like to live in that era and to know that, you know, they didn't have zippers, you know. That's a thing that you take for granted in your daily life, but if you were to go back in time and it didn't exist, you'd be like, how the hell do I close my fly? Well, it's buttons or clips or snaps, but it's not zippers, you know.
Oh.
Okay, so Wolfie isn't doing a lot during the holidays. He's going to be picking back up in January. That's fine. That makes perfect sense.
You know what? Wolf 10 will be guest starring sometime in the new year. He will be on the stream with Daniel and I, Soundtracks of Birdman. We're going to be doing another rewatch of Captain America: Civil War. You know, whose side were you on in that movie? You on Team Iron Man or Team Captain America, Mr. Pacelli?
Well, you're talking about the cinematic universe, right?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. In the cinematic universe, absolutely, it was. I'd have been Team Cap, right? Because, well, and I'm not sure if I'm being truly intellectually honest here because I would have to think back to where I was at the time, and if I would have still said that at the time the movie came out. Keep in mind, I'm in the COVID era. You know, and so I might have a different perspective on personal civil liberties and freedoms.
Oh,
you know?
Wolf 10's like, hit me with your best shot, Age. You know what that reminds me of? Do you remember the scene in Friday the 13th? What was it, Part 8, Jason Takes Manhattan? I think that was
I did
Part
not
8.
see Jason Takes Manhattan.
There's a wonderful scene where there's this
DVD, but
where there's this young boxer guy in it, right? And he's on top of a roof and he's pummeling Jason, keeps punching him in the face. He's punching him in the face.
I've seen this scene.
It's doing nothing. And then finally he's just too tuckered out and he goes to Jason, hit me with your best shot. And then Jason just uppercuts him and his head goes flying off and falls down into the dumpster and the dumpster lid slams shut on his head.
I've seen that scene.
No, man, I'm Team Iron Man, man. But I'll get into it on Daniel's stream. Okay.
But so Matthew Flynn, Gladiator of Chaos on Sunday morning, Sunday night, over on Aged Boomer's channel. Netter, if you could drop the link for Aged Boomer for me. Of course, we'll have Geeky Geezers, where we will be bringing you your weekly dose of geeky news. There has been a lot this week, a lot of very interesting things happening, a lot of things that Aged Boomer and I really want to talk about. And when I say talk, read that as rant.
Wait a minute. It has to do with a certain organization with mouse ears, right? That's something.
Yep. And a certain weed-smoking Jewish celebrity who thinks that anyone who doesn't like anything he does is a white supremacist.
You know what's interesting? Look at Jerry Seinfeld too. Like the opposite. Like remember he was being interviewed once and recently and said, "Oh, you have a lot of white males in your audience. Like, can you give that a rest?" He was getting really annoyed with the interviewer.
Yeah.
But Seth Rogen's a different guy.
He's a piece of work, and Sarah Silverman's another one. She can go.
Well, we'll talk about it on Sunday.
Yep. So that's Sunday.
And for those who are interested, I just dropped a new vid.
Netter just dropped a new video, so please, she just dropped a link to her video. Go check it out. Give her some encouragement. Subscribe and give her a thumbs up on that video.
And now that I got my first 100, I'm working on my first 200.
Yeah, now she's on the way to 200. Let's see. Let me think. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Soundtracks with Birdman at Aged Boomer?
This week, I don't know. We'll be playing catch up because we didn't do a stream this week, so we might be doing First Blood. I don't know. I'll have to keep an ear out for what we're doing. Frankly, if we were going to postpone any of the Christmas movies, would make the most sense to postpone, though, because that's like the least Christmassy. In fact, I didn't even notice it took place at Christmas time until I rewatched it a couple times later. Did you know that First Blood
No,
takes place at Christmas time?
It makes sense.
We'll let you know, Wolf 10. I'm assuming in January at some point we'll be doing Civil War, but I'll ask Daniel. Maybe we can set up a date. Okay.
I may have skipped over. Is there something going on Tuesday with Mr. Matchstick?
Yes, I'll be on a stream with him. We'll be doing a rewatch of Lupin the Third.
Right.
Farewell to Nostradamus, which is the English title. According to the Japanese title, it was Lupin the Third F.U. Nostradamus, which I believe was the original title.
Okay.
You know what the bad guy group in it? It's a Nostradamus cult that is has a bunch of followers around the world, and they say we have the lost prophecies of Nostradamus, and they're going to come true. And like, in order to make one of the prophecies come true, they'll blow up a nuclear submarine. See, we were correct. And then a man running for president of the United States has the actual lost prophecies of Nostradamus, and so they kidnap his daughter, and Lupin and gang have to save this presidential candidate's daughter. It's a weird movie, but
I'll tell you
I like the fact that it was an evil Nostradamus worshipping cult that was the villains.
If you have prophecies that you actively have to work at to make come true, they're not very good prophecies.
Well, these were fake ones anyway. These weren't even actual Nostradamus prophecies.
There you go.
These were ones they made up to seem like they were the Nostradamus prophecies, because they were trying to maintain membership in their organization.
And I guess that brings me around back to next Friday, where I'll be on with Mr. Matchstick. And then in 2 weeks, same channel, I will be having Dino from the Late Late Horror Show. I would very much appreciate it if you would come and give him as much love as you gave Maria today, and check out his channel. If nothing else, as Aged Boomer has pointed out, it's great to turn on at 10 o'clock. I don't remember if he's Central or Eastern time. Put it on at 10 o'clock and sleep with it for 12 hours until 10 in the morning.
Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. Maybe I'll do it tonight.
Next week, December 11th, which happens to be my birthday, I'll be showing, or we'll be talking about Back to the Future, the original.
That's a good one.
Yep. That's a tough one if you have mommy issues. Let me tell you. Especially when you consider Leah Thompson as wow.
Yeah, I think, you know what? Back to the Future trilogy, I would argue, probably has one of the 10 greatest screen villains in Biff. I think he is.
Biff is pretty awesome. Yeah.
I think he is one of my favorite screen villains.
What I love about it is because of the nature of the time travel. Very different characters.
You run into different versions, like the cyborg version of him in the future, and the gunslinger in the past, and I like those movies a lot.
I love the interaction between the old him and the teenage
and the young
him.
one, yes.
And I got to be honest with you, you see that as an older guy, and you're like, yep, I would slap my teenage self upside the head and rip him for being a dumbass.
Well, we're all dumbasses when we're younger, okay? Let's be honest here.
Make like a tree and get out of here. It's make like a tree and leaf, you moron!
You catch yourself catching your younger self thinking, wow, you were not that bright, were you?
It happens to me all the time.
Yeah.
I look back at things, you discover and learn something, and you're like, I completely misunderstood that all these years.
Yep.
How could I not understand? There were jokes that I heard as a kid that I repeated, and I'd have adults saying, "Oh, you shouldn't do that. That's dirty. Don't do that." And then it wasn't until I was in my teens that I found out what it meant, and I'm like, "Oh, yeah, that was a bad joke. I shouldn't have been telling that joke."
Well, yeah, older people don't tell your young people jokes they don't understand because they repeat them. All right. Well, this has been fun.
Yeah, thanks everyone for coming out, for hanging out with us. I still got to think about a better closing, but I do super appreciate all of you. Kind of like Melissa Harris started out, she encouraged me so much with what she said. She said she's so proud to be a part of this community. that means the world to me. See, hanging out with you guys on Friday nights, you know, maybe it's especially because of the lockdowns and all this bull crap we're going through in the world, but it's great to be able to make this connection with you guys. I super appreciate the interaction. I know Netter does. She loves it every time. She gets a little dopamine hit every time she gets a like and whatnot on her channel, and it means a lot to me too. When you
Sharing is fun.
Sharing is fun, and I just thank you so much. Any last words, Age of Boomer?
Sharing is fun.
That's damn original.
And we're gonna be talking about Rancor Monster Toy on the stream on Sunday. Okay.
I'll have a slight rant about that, but I will help put that toy news into perspective for you. Yeah, we'll talk a little HasLab. I probably won't be as down on HasLab as Michael from Retro Blasting, who's good people. I am not faulting his particular point of view in any way. You should subscribe to him if you have any interest in toys, but I don't 100% agree with him, and I'll give you a different perspective on that.
Okay.
All right, everyone. Thanks so much for being here. Have a great rest of your night. Have a great weekend. Hope to see you on Geeky Geezers and next week right here. Take care, everyone.
Good night.
Good night, ladies.
Good night, sir.
Hit it, sweetheart.